Trixie's Forest Retreat by Crow's Crow. Chapter 71. Rhythmic. It was late at night. Trixie could tell, because the fireplace was mere embers, and the howling storm outside had withered down just heavy rains. The final flashes of lightning had brightened up the room in what seemed to her like a last-ditch effort to impress the inhabitants of Ponyville. Whether that was by design, or just happened to work out that way, was something Trixie pondered. "Something on your mind, Trixie?" Rainbow Dash rested right beside Trixie on the blanket, while Fluttershy was still snoozing on Trixie's left. Since it was technically Fluttershy's turn, they had taken a break under the pretense of giving Fluttershy a chance to claim her turn, but also doubled as a nice chance to just enjoy the moment. As far as Trixie was concerned, this really was a moment to be savored. The cold weather outside and the dying embers of the fire failed to warm the interior of the house properly anymore. The air was chilly, and they were already using their only blanket to lay on. This meant that the best way to stay warm was to stay close together, which suited Trixie just fine. For one, do you control what a storm does? Nah, storms pretty much do their own thing. All we have to do is direct it to where it needs to go. If we had the option, we'd not have all this wind, but it just kind of comes with the territory. That's why it's kind of exciting to work with them. You never really know what it will do and you have to adapt on the fly. Well, no wonder Fluttershy said you were pretty good at that then. Trixie thought it was odd you'd have a knack for planning, but there really isn't much of that involved, is there? Rainbow Dash perked up. She did? Well, no. I mean, yeah. There is a plan, but no plan survives contact with the enemy. Anything else? A few things. Like what Trixie will make you do after she wins this. Oh, and do you think a pink tutu would look better on you with your mane dyed green or purple? Trixie smirked. Shuddering, Rainbow Dash shook her head. Either, just so long as you don't dye it light blue, because no pony could make that look good. Fool. Then Trixie will make it light blue. You will look so radical. Wait, hey. Trixie yelled, then quickly clamped her hoof over her mouth and glanced over to Fluttershy, who stirred after the sudden noise. She carried on in a whisper, "Trixie blames you for this, Rainbow Dash." Rainbow Dash snickered and rolled her eyes. "Yeah, totally my bad. I should have known you'd scream after getting burned." Trixie huffed. "That's better. For compensation, why don't you do something you are actually good at, and warm Trixie up? She is cold." Without waiting for a reply, Trixie shifted to rest her head on Rainbow Dash's chest. "Whoa, hey. Trixie, what did I say about treating me like a bed?" Despite protesting, Rainbow Dash did not really bother to push Trixie away, though she did crane her neck to look at the trespasser. "You are not a bed, you are a pillow. Now hush or you'll wake Fluttershy." Trixie used the foreleg she had wrapped around Fluttershy to carefully pull her closer again, since she had moved slightly to get into her new position. Fluttershy easily responded, pulling herself against Trixie again with a drowsy mumble. Rainbow Dash raised a brow, but kept her voice down. "A pillow? Any more loopholes I should know about? Actually, never mind. Are you really cold?" Averting her gaze, Trixie paused a moment while she thought her answer to the question over, which probably would have betrayed her motive in the first place. "No." Can Trixie still stay like this? It is more comfy, and Trixie likes it. It is what Trixie wants. She raised her gaze up to meet Rainbow Dash again. Visibly caught off guard with her sudden honesty, Rainbow Dash stared back at Trixie for a moment. I guess. It's not like you are heavy. So if this makes you comfortable, that's fine." She gave Trixie a smile, then let her gaze travel to Fluttershy. "I don't think she will take her turn anytime soon." Trixie smiled back, and shook her head, inadvertently rubbing her cheek against Rainbow Dash's fur. "Probably not." Trixie has to wonder, does she always pass out during your truth or dare games? "Nah, but usually the games end a bit sooner. Besides, she's had a long day, ensuring all the animals had good places to stay during the storm. Rainbow Dash laid her head back down and just stared up at the ceiling. Though Trixie was a bit disappointed she couldn't see her eyes anymore, she quickly settled for just closing her eyes and listening to the mare's heartbeat instead. The rhythmic sound relaxed her. Trixie would have thought she'd bring them all inside. It seems like the kind of thing she would do. She's tried it before, but there are more animals than she can reasonably fit in here, so that means she has to pick and choose favorites, and that means disappointing others, and... well, you get the idea. Fluttershy does not handle that very well. Rainbow Dash chuckled sadly. Surprised, Trixie perked up her ears in disbelief. So the solution is to let no animals stay? That seems awfully draconian for Fluttershy. Wait, that can't be right. Trixie's seen animals just today. What? Oh, no, if it was up to Fluttershy we'd be up to our ears in critters right now. Nah, it's kind of system. Fluttershy could explain it better than I can. Point is, there are animals in the house now, but they naturally get sleepy when the weather is bad. It's a good thing too, since it gives us space so we can have ourselves a slumber party. Right, that's convenient. Maybe they just aren't party animals. Trixie giggled, and Rainbow Dash joined in, filling the room with their mirth. After they quieted down again, neither of them spoke for a time, leaving Trixie to her thoughts. She loved having the three of them together like this. It was so peaceful and warm, but above all else, she felt safe. She could feel Rainbow Dash's breathing slowing down while the mare relaxed. Trixie whispered, "Rainbow Dash, are you awake?" Rainbow Dash replied in a hushed tone, "Yeah. Is something wrong?" "It's just..." Trixie wanted to tell you this. Trixie had a really good time tonight. "Thank you." Trixie swallowed. Even though she felt at ease, it was still difficult to bring herself to share the next part. It was Trixie's first time. Rainbow Dash stiffened, and Trixie could hear her heart rate go up rapidly. "Whoa, what? We didn't do anything, did we? We didn't even have any cider. I should remember if anything happened." Trixie rolled her eyes. Slumber party. Trixie's first time at a slumber party. Get your mind out of the gutter, Rainbow Dash. "Oh, sorry." Rainbow Dash blushed, and quickly laid back again so Trixie couldn't see her face. "So, first slumber party, huh? Was it just not custom where you are from, Trixie? I remember you had some odd differences there." "No, that's not it. Trixie and Flitter might have, if Trixie hadn't screwed that up." Trixie took a deep breath. This might be hard to believe, but... for a long time, before Trixie met you girls, Trixie didn't really have any pony. Trixie stayed quiet after that, waiting to hear what kind of reaction Rainbow Dash had for her. Part of her was worried she might get mocked, but she was willing to take the risk. The Rainbow Dash took a moment to answer. She did not sound surprised. "So, you mean you've been alone? I, might have pieced that together already. I just didn't want to believe it. Really, I was surprised to hear you actually had a friend before." Rainbow Dash tensed when she said it, and quickly followed up. "Wait. I didn't mean it like that. Just that, well, you are weird, rude, no, come on." Trixie blinked while she listened to Rainbow Dash rapidly cooling herself. Even if Rainbow Dash was trying to recover, there was a reason she went to those words first. "No, you're right. It's Trixie's fault. Every pony else has friends, so it is Trixie, and she knows that. The one time Trixie thought she made a friend she was just being used, and Trixie has been used a lot since then." Rainbow Dash stared at Trixie in disbelief. "Were ponies just that nasty to you?" "No, like Trixie told you already, Trixie was well respected. Before Trixie had her show, she used to, do odd magic jobs here and there. When a job needed doing, they used to be real nice to Trixie. Because Trixie is the greatest unicorn. Trixie swelled involuntarily with pride of her ability, hampered only slightly by the fact that she could not demonstrate her point without her actual magic. But they didn't really like Trixie. You just said you were respected and ponies were nice to you, and that made you think they didn't like you? Rainbow Dash asked, with genuine confusion. Trixie averted her gaze, staring down at the blanket. Not always. It's just Trixie realized why they were being nice. It's not that they liked Trixie, but that they tolerated Trixie for her obvious talent. She gave a slow sigh and let her ears lay flat on her head. Trixie made that mistake a few times. But Trixie recognizes it now. It is like how the audience uses Trixie for entertainment, and Trixie uses them for bits. It's easier like that. No high expectations. Hey, Trixie, come on. That's a really lousy way of looking at it. Rainbow Dash shook her head. Maybe, but it worked for Trixie. Or it used to, that is to say, until now. Trixie did not understand at first, but it is different now. You and Fluttershy, you are important to Trixie, more than anything else. She raised her gaze back up to lock eyes with Rainbow Dash, swallowing nervously. Oh, and Trixie just wants you to know. You girls really are the best thing that happened to Trixie in a long time. Speechless, Rainbow Dash wrapped her hooves around Trixie's neck, holding her to her chest. Trixie was fairly sure she could see something glistening in Rainbow Dash's eyes by the light of the dying embers. Time passed slowly, but Trixie could think of no better place to spend it. Fluttershy was still wrapped around her chest, the sleeping mare's soft form pressed up against her. Meanwhile, Rainbow Dash was holding her close. Trixie could hear the drum of her heart, and even feel it. The gesture served well to keep Trixie from doubting herself, and she was content to relish the embrace for the rest of time, or until Rainbow Dash found her voice, whichever came first. Trixie used her free hoof to wrap around Rainbow Dash tightly. Finally, after what must have been much deliberation and soul-searching, Rainbow Dash shifted, taking in a deep breath, and spoke up. I'm no good with mushy stuff, you know. Perking up her ears, Trixie could feel a small grin spread on her lips. Trixie knows. Maybe Trixie could. She felt her heart skip a beat while she looked at Rainbow Dash. The last time, she had chickened out with Fluttershy, but maybe she could give it a real try this time. Sucking in a breath, Trixie gathered her courage, and looked Rainbow Dash right in the eye. She could feel her cheeks burning long before she'd even started speaking. Rainbow Dash, Trixie dares you to kiss her. Trixie held her breath. She'd said it. She had really said it. She could hear a gasp, and felt Rainbow Dash's heartbeat skyrocket. Even in the weak glow of the smoldering fireplace ashes, Trixie could see Rainbow Dash's face had turned as red as part of her mane. After Rainbow Dash got over the initial surprise, she spoke quietly. Kiss. Who? Trixie wished she had Fluttershy's mane style to hide herself in right about now, but she settled for the semi-darkness of the room. Trixie tried her best to stay calm, and ignore the heated feeling rising up inside her. Does she really have to ask? Damn it, Rainbow Dash. Maybe Trixie should bail out? Just say Fluttershy. If anything, Trixie took some comfort in the fact that Rainbow Dash was remarkably calm, given the circumstances. She's not mad. So Trixie can. She swallowed. Her mouth felt so dry that she did not truly trust her voice anymore. K. T. Trixie gave up. Instead, she lifted up one hoof to motion towards herself. She struggled to keep eye contact, but finally broke it off to stare at their shadows on the blanket, as if it was the most fascinating thing, while she waited for Rainbow Dash to say something. The following 2 seconds of silence felt like it lasted for 2 hours, when Rainbow Dash finally spoke. "Okay." Rainbow Dash shifted to sit up, sliding Trixie from her chest to her lap. She said okay. Trixie felt her chest thumping so hard she was worried she was deafening the Pegasi. If they noticed though, they did not let on. Fluttershy was still snoozing, and Rainbow Dash was making no comment on it. Trixie felt Rainbow Dash's hoof below her chin, raising up her muzzle so their eyes could meet again. "Close your eyes, Trixie." Quickly following her instructions, Trixie closed her eyes. She felt so nervous, even though she had already kissed Rainbow Dash twice. It had always been accidental and one-sided, and immediately followed up with drama. They were finally going to share a kiss. Trixie pursed her lips. All it took was a dare. That thought gave Trixie pause, however. Wait, does Trixie really want our first shared kiss to be a dare? She felt her stomach turning into knots with uncertainty and nervousness, but anticipation was starting to get the better of her. It didn't matter, all she had to do was enjoy it. She'd waited a week for this. Feeling Rainbow Dash draw nearer, it took all of Trixie's strength to keep herself from lunging forward and stealing the kiss. She wanted Rainbow Dash to initiate it this time. Trixie could sense her hot breath on her lips. "Your lips look a little dry, Trixie," Rainbow Dash whispered from so very close by that Trixie felt the words before she heard them. Trixie's ears perked up, her breath got stuck in her throat while she quickly licked her lips, moistening them up for Rainbow Dash. She trembled lightly with anticipation. Wait, did she mean she wanted Trixie to moisten them, or that she would do it for Trixie hers? Though she had her eyes closed, she could sense a brief flash. Before Trixie could think much more on it, however, she felt Rainbow Dash's lips. Trixie blinked. All she could see was shadow for a moment, before Rainbow Dash pulled back. Raising a hoof to her forehead, Trixie rubbed over the tingling patch of fur that Rainbow Dash had kissed. She felt a pit open up in her stomach. Teeth Trixie never said. "Where?" She was barely able to utter the words as realization set in, staring at the impishly grinning face in front of her. The anticipation and nervousness evaporated into thin air, leaving just bitter disappointment to gnaw at Trixie's chest. Nope, Trixie didn't. Rainbow Dash laughed awkwardly. Biting back her tears, Trixie nodded as stoically as she could manage. Woodenly, she pulled away from Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy, and got up, trotting back to her old seat. She could feel her knees tremble as she walked. Oh, of course she'd do something like that. So stupid Trixie. Her enthusiasm deflated. She should have expected Rainbow Dash to get back at her for using a trick to get her way, but her chest still hurt, badly. Trixie didn't want it anyway. However, before Trixie got all the way to her seat, she was intercepted by Fluttershy, who wrapped her hooves around her neck and pulled her close. SHH. "It's okay, Trixie." No matter what Trixie tried, she couldn't stop the sudden fit of trembling that overcame her body, nor could she will herself to get out of Fluttershy's embrace. Trixie is just fine, Fluttershy." "No, you're not." Fluttershy shook her head, then turned to look at Rainbow Dash. "Rainbow Dash, go upstairs, and think about what you've done." Rainbow Dash rose up onto her hooves. Wait, what? Bah! A clap of thunder cut her off, shaking the windows of the small hovel. Fluttershy gave her a stare, that even in the near dark still compelled Rainbow Dash to comply. "I dare you." That was really cruel, Rainbow Dash. Don't come back down until you understand that. Chapter 72. Recreant. With a bang, Rainbow Dash closed the door to Fluttershy's bedroom behind her, leaving Trixie and Fluttershy to their own devices down below. Ugh, that idiot. She stomped her hoof against the floor. It was completely unfair that she was taking the blame for this. The whole night had been just perfect, and then Trixie had to pull a stupid stunt like that. She'd offered up some sob story about being alone, then asked for a kiss, when any sane pony would have gotten the hint after the first 2 times. But I can't say it's on her now, can I? No, that would just stress her out some more. I'm sick of this. She wanted to kick something, but everything in here belonged to Fluttershy, and she couldn't start breaking her stuff. To her relief, Rainbow Dash spotted the one thing in the room she could vent some frustration on, and flung the pillow from the bed against the wall with a dull thud. Why? Why does she not get it? I don't want to like her like that. Trixie had been nothing if not persistent, and somewhere Rainbow Dash had to wonder if her little improvised speech about failure did not have something to do with it. Still, it would have been one thing if Trixie constantly tried to kiss her. That was easy enough to deal with. However, what was the most insidious part of Trixie's behavior was that she was constantly showing good sides of herself. Though, it wasn't like Rainbow Dash hated the little minx. In fact, she liked her a lot. There were many good things about having Trixie around, not least of all was just how much fun it was to have some pony that pushed back to play with. It reminded her a little of how things used to be between her and Gilda. But unlike Gilda, Trixie now even knew how to keep Fluttershy at ease. Even if it had taken some time, Fluttershy seemed comfortable to have her around by now too. She has friends now, isn't that enough? Why does it have to be more than that? She's had that stupid crush for weeks now. Just leave me alone, it's hard enough already. Biting into the pillow, she threw it up and struck it, sending it flying across the room into the other wall. Rainbow Dash trotted over to the pillow and sat down beside it, staring down at her completely unharmed, fluffy nemesis. We had a good time, and you just had to push your luck, didn't you? Her voice quieted down, thinking back on the near disaster that took place. At first, Trixie's crush had been annoying and confusing. It even led to Rainbow Dash losing her temper and sending Trixie to the hospital, when Fluttershy seemed to be her next target. After that, however, Rainbow Dash had found it a good method to control herself. As silly as it was, as long as Trixie had that little crush on her, it meant she wouldn't certainly not try anything with Fluttershy. For that reason, Rainbow Dash had allowed it to go on. Besides, she did not really have the heart to put Trixie through the stress of straight-up rejection again while she was still recovering. She set her hoof on the pillow, pulling it into her lap. Somewhere along the way, slowly, something had gone horribly wrong. When Trixie made the dare to kiss her, Rainbow Dash had not felt that sense of annoyance anymore. Somehow, Rainbow Dash had gotten carried away in the moment, and her chest ached when she thought about it, how close she'd gotten to even for a moment giving up on Fluttershy. Rainbow Dash knew she really had been a split second away from giving in and actually kissing Trixie. It was only at the last second that a rogue flash of lightning brightened up the room for just a moment, and revealed that Fluttershy was not asleep at all. Fluttershy had been looking right at them with both eyes wide open, then Rainbow Dash had panicked, playing off the whole thing as a joke. The muscles in her body quivered with anger while she looked back down at the pillow in her lap and punched it. Why do you have to make it harder? It didn't help. She didn't want to feel conflicted like this. She knew exactly what she wanted, so why was she for even a moment okay with the idea of being with Trixie? Some element of loyalty, I am. Rainbow Dash mumbled bitterly. The more she thought about it, the more Rainbow Dash realized she'd been steadily allowing Trixie to get away with more and more before it made her uncomfortable. That particular train of thought was made Rainbow Dash grind her teeth. It didn't feel right. Rainbow Dash knew she was missing something. The anger did not go away or even subside no matter how much she abused the pillow. It wasn't good. Perhaps she needed to talk to some pony about this. Maybe Rarity? She's good at this stuff, but what do I even tell her? Oh hey, Rarity, listen, I'm in love with my best friend, which I've not told her, but now maybe I'm gonna settle for the witch instead. What do you think? Rainbow Dash rolled her eyes. Right, and after she's done passing out, I'm sure she'd be totally reasonable, and tell me I'm mad. Mad. She paused, actually putting the problem into words, even sarcastically. did help her get a better grasp on it. Raising up her hoof away from the pillow, she stroked the creases out of it from her last hit. Who am I really mad at? She struck her hoof against her forehead. Ugh, it's so obvious. I'm the one betraying Fluttershy, even if we aren't together, yet. This is all happening because I'm such a coward. What am I even afraid of? That she'll say no, and tell me to go away forever. Like that will ever happen. In truth, what actually scared her the most was that Fluttershy would agree. Rainbow Dash knew Fluttershy was absolutely terrible at standing up for herself. If by some chance, she confessed to Fluttershy, and asked to be with her, would Fluttershy really be able to say no? The thought that she might be inadvertently forcing the one pony more important to her than any other, into being with her when she actually did not feel the same, was terrifying. Fluttershy might only agree because she's scared she'll hurt me, or that I'll go away. And I'd never recognize it. Her thoughts lingered on the events of the Dragon Mountain, which had only confirmed her fears. Though Fluttershy was not much good at defending herself, she was much better at defending others. The only times Rainbow Dash had ever seen Fluttershy look angry were when she was looking out for some pony else. Which brought her back to how livid Fluttershy had looked, in comparison at least, when she sent her up here. I hoped she'd be happy, but she was so angry. Rainbow Dash swallowed while she recalled the glare she had received. It made her chest ache. Did she want me to kiss Trixie? Nah, now that I think about it. Over the course of Trixie's stay, Fluttershy had always given Rainbow Dash advice on how to get on Trixie's good side, and talked about how similar they were. Fluttershy even made the completely insane leap in logic to go fly over the ever-free forest by herself, which would have left Trixie and Rainbow Dash alone together. Even tonight, the very first dare Fluttershy made had been to let Trixie touch her hooves. Fluttershy had also made sure Trixie would stay with her, instead of return to the hospital, where Rainbow Dash would never have been banned from for life. It seemed almost too insane to consider, but given all that evidence there was only one explanation Rainbow Dash could conceive. Maybe Fluttershy supports Trixie? What if Fluttershy noticed years ago I like her, but she didn't feel the same? She'd never tell me, but she might just try to set me up with some pony else. Trixie is a lot like me, so maybe she thought. Rainbow Dash bit her lip. It made perfect sense to her, but that had to mean that Fluttershy really did not like her back. Although it was a possibility Rainbow Dash had spent years trying to come to terms with, actually having good reason to believe it was true felt absolutely terrible. Fluttershy had always seemed to like it when they did things together, and Rainbow Dash had loved every moment they shared. But maybe she didn't. She felt a sharp pain in her chest, and blinked the upcoming tears out of her eyes. Shaking her head, Rainbow Dash pushed the thought away. This would not do at all. She was Rainbow Danger Dash for crying out loud, and she was not going to sit around moping in the dark about her feelings. As a matter of action, that was exactly what she needed more of, action. Rainbow Dash threw the pillow to the bed with a thud and sprung up on her hooves. Right. All this dumb thinking is for eggheads. I just need to act. She trotted right up to the door, and set her hoof against it. Chapter 73. Replay. With a bang, Trixie could hear the door upstairs slam shut. The sound seemed louder than any of the thunder that evening. Shortly after, a loud storm shook the ceiling. Everything had happened so fast that Trixie still had no chance to really orientate herself, but for the moment it was enough to just know Fluttershy was holding her while she broke down, crying on the gentle mare's shoulder. Fluttershy stroked Trixie's back while she cooed reassuringly. There, it's okay. Normally, Trixie wouldn't have allowed herself to cry like this, but around Fluttershy it seemed so unimportant to keep up a tough front. It just helped to allow her frustration out at last. She knew she had brought it on herself. Trixie is sorry, she choked out between sobs. You don't need to be sorry, Trixie. It's okay to cry when you're sad. Fluttershy whispered, and ushered Trixie to sit down on the blanket. Trixie obliged, and once she was seated, Trixie wrapped her hooves around Fluttershy tightly. But Trixie ruined it, so she didn't mean to. Trixie really thought. Her voice trailed off, and she buried herself into Fluttershy's fur again. Trixie was not actually sure if she should go on, but she wanted to talk to some pony. Fluttershy made no effort to talk, instead she merely focused on giving Trixie the support she craved, and waited patiently for Trixie to choose when she was ready to tell what was on her mind. Under Fluttershy's care, Trixie calmed down enough that she'd stopped crying. She just relaxed while she felt Fluttershy soothingly run the hoof over her back. Sorry. Trixie's okay now, thanks, Fluttershy. Oh, don't worry about it, Trixie. Do you want to talk? Fluttershy slowly let go of Trixie, and moved to sit by her side. It's not just about the trick, is it? Maybe, but... Now that Trixie actually could think clearly, it occurred to her that Fluttershy had woken up at some point without her realizing it. Trixie probably woke her up when she pulled away. Wait, no, then Fluttershy wouldn't know what Rainbow Dash did, so does that mean she knows what Trixie did? Her cheeks burned, she wondered just how long Fluttershy had been awake. For all she knew, Fluttershy could have been pretending from the start. How long were you awake for? Oh, I was asleep for some of it, but you kept poking me, and you girls were really loud, so... I think at least for the, important part. Since party animals. Fluttershy sounded as though she felt a little guilty for inadvertently spying on them, though Trixie really couldn't blame her, considering she was the one to wake her constantly. Trixie understands. Even though Trixie would not have minded telling Fluttershy everything she had told Rainbow Dash, the idea that she was overheard didn't really sit well with her. After giving it some thought, Trixie shrugged lightly. Well, that saves time, Trixie supposes. Fluttershy nodded. It was, really nice. Well, the good parts I mean, not the bad parts. Wait, no, that it was nice to see you share something, even if it wasn't so good, I mean pleasant, Feeling a smile forming, Trixie shook her head with a soft chuckle. It was just too disarming to see Fluttershy contort to make her comfortable. Trixie knows what he meant, Fluttershy. Even if Trixie didn't, she'd never be mad at you. She gave a sideways glance at Fluttershy, though she was only able to make out her basic shape in the dark, and sighed. Trixie made a mistake. Reassured, Fluttershy rose up to her hooves and turned around, trotting towards the fireplace to put a new log on top of the embers. What do you mean, Trixie? Facing away from Fluttershy, Trixie remained quiet for a moment, simply unsure how she was going to broach the subject at all, or even if she should. Trixie dared Rainbow Dash for a kiss, that was wrong. Rainbow Dash was right to punish her. It was just that. Trixie really thought the mood was right, but she was wrong. The mood wasn't right. Fluttershy picked up a poker, and stoked the fire, causing light to gradually return to the room with a warm glow. No, well, yes, the mood wasn't as Trixie read it apparently, but that's not it. Trixie has been, pestering Rainbow Dash about this for a week. It was wrong of Trixie to try to push her feelings on Rainbow Dash. Even if she really wanted it. Well. It's good that you know what you did wrong, Trixie. You made a mistake, but that still doesn't make it okay for Rainbow Dash to play along until the last second. If she had told you the truth, or, did that thing, right away, I wouldn't have yelled at her for it. Fluttershy looked up at the stairs in contemplation for a moment before she turned back towards Trixie. Trixie was not really convinced she did not actually deserve what she got, but she did not try to argue. As Fluttershy stayed quiet, Trixie continued, slowly dragging her hoof along the blanket. It was just that Trixie never felt that way before. You and Rainbow Dash were so good to Trixie, and she just felt so wonderful if you were around. Trixie wanted that all the time. Rainbow Dash tried to tell her that it was friendship, but later Trixie realized it was more than that when Big Mac and Applejack did not give her nearly the same feeling. Even though Trixie liked them, it was totally different from how she felt about you two. Every so quietly, Fluttershy whispered, "Oh, my." Her face, illuminated by the growing fire, was red. Trixie failed to notice the reaction as she carried on. After the incident in the castle though, Trixie was so scared of coming near you, because Rainbow Dash was so angry. Trixie noticed that Rainbow Dash was really nice once Trixie paid more attention to her. Rainbow Dash let Trixie get closer over time, so Trixie thought she made progress, and she was over the moon. Fluttershy put down the poker, and made her way back to sit beside Trixie. So you thought she, liked you too? Nodding, Trixie felt her chest ache. Yes. Rainbow Dash told Trixie that no pony had ever tried to ask her out, because she was intimidating. Trixie figured she'd be happy to see Trixie didn't back down, but she wasn't, and Trixie can't believe she didn't see that. Trixie never should have pushed her on it. Breathing a soft sigh, Fluttershy shook her head. It's okay Trixie, Rainbow Dash can just be difficult to predict sometimes. I'm sure she does like you, just, maybe not in that way. I did try to tell you, sorry. Trixie nodded slowly. She really did feel a little better now that she'd finally been able to talk about it. Though she'd felt awkward in the beginning, once she'd gotten started it felt liberating to let it all out, and she didn't even really think about what to say. It was just so foolish of Trixie. Once Trixie can use magic, it is probably better if she leaves. The warmth of the growing fire behind Trixie felt soothing. Light was returning to the room, pulling the various shapes out of the shadows. It took Trixie a moment to notice, but Fluttershy was staring at her with a deep blush, but didn't say anything further. Is it something Trixie said? Fluttershy shifted uncomfortably, as though she knew something she shouldn't. Oh, I was just thinking. I don't think you should leave just because of unrequited love. You said you really like to be around, us. So why throw that away? Even if the feeling isn't mutual, I'm sure Rainbow Dash would be okay with knowing you like her, a little more. I know I am. Far too late, Trixie covered her mouth with her hooves, as if she expected to retroactively stop herself from speaking. That was absolutely not how she had wanted Fluttershy to find out, if ever at all. Trixie sat frozen while she stared at Fluttershy, silently cursing herself while she tried to go over what else she had said. Seeing Trixie starting to panic, Fluttershy gave a reassuring smile, and reached one wing out to wrap around her. Trixie. It's okay, okay. I'm not upset, honest. Nothing's different, but I don't really understand how you feel that way about two ponies. Can you help me? If that's all right with you? The incredibly soft feeling from Fluttershy's swing around her soothed Trixie enough to pay attention to the words. She looked up at Fluttershy in brief confusion. Help you understand? But Trixie doesn't understand it so well herself. It's just how she feels. Trixie needs Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash, like how Equestria needs the sun and moon. She knows how that sounds. Trixie's selfish, and greedy, and irrational. She trailed off and petered out, looking down at the blanket to avoid eye contact with Fluttershy. Fluttershy stayed silent as she thought about it. She used her wing to stroke Trixie back, which ensured Trixie did not worry too much about how her slip-up and explanation were received, since at least it wasn't bad enough to make Fluttershy stop. Finally, Fluttershy spoke up. Well, you're right, Trixie. It is really selfish, greedy and irrational. Trixie dropped her ears flat on her head and nodded slowly. Perhaps it would be for the best that she'd look for another place to stay, but she had really hoped she could remain here with the two ponies that meant so much to her, even if it ached that she had no chance with them. And you're right, that's what love is. Fluttershy wrapped her fur legs around Trixie and hugged her tightly. That's nothing to be ashamed of, or worried about, even if it is a little unusual. I guess it hurts twice then? Is that why you wanted to leave? No. No. Trixie returned the hug, enjoying every moment of it. Trixie just thought he wouldn't allow her to stay, if she was like that. Fluttershy raised a brow, and adopted a kindly reprimanding tone that only she could pull off. Trixie, you didn't really think I'd kick you out for that? You aren't some weird stranger, you are my friend, our friend. Hearing it actually said out loud, Trixie blushed, embarrassed that she had ever considered it a possibility. Oh, no. Trixie didn't think Fluttershy would ever do that, of course not. But wouldn't it be weird to feel like Trixie is checking you out? Nah, not that she ever would. But, hypothetically. Fluttershy stuttered with a heavy blush, and her tail swished over her flank. I didn't say that, but. The sound of the door upstairs made Fluttershy stop, seemingly grateful for the distraction. Gah, it's bright in here. Rainbow Dash shielded her eyes with one hoof, blinking against the light of the fireplace. It didn't stop her for long though, as she landed in front of the pair and gave a quick squinted look from one to the other. Rainbow Dash let her eyes linger on Fluttershy's blushing face for a moment. Everything okay? I'm not interrupting any strategy meetings, am I? She gave a grin. Fluttershy blinked in utter confusion. Strategy? No. I wasn't expecting you back so soon. Oh. Nah, not that I think you're dumb, or anything, really. It's just that you kind of take a while to realize when you do something wrong, not that you do it that often at all. But. Oh good, then you won't mind if I borrow Trixie for a minute. Rainbow Dash rubbed her eyes, ignoring Fluttershy's ramblings, finally managing to open them properly after getting used to the flames. I should have realized it in the first place. Trixie nodded to Fluttershy to indicate she would be okay, and let go of her. Getting up to her hooves, Fluttershy nodded. Oh, sure. I'll go make some tea. You girls take your time, okay? She gave a smile to Rainbow Dash as she passed her on her way to the kitchen. I'm glad you understand, Rainbow Dash. Rainbow Dash gave a forced smile back. Yeah. I got it. Turning her head, she watched Fluttershy disappear into the kitchen before she turned her attention fully on Trixie, and took a deep breath. Okay, Trixie, I was, thinking a lot, and I want, I guess, She reached a hoof to scratch her side of her fur leg uncomfortably. Oh. Hey, it's my turn. Trixie, truth or dare? Blinking, Trixie was too surprised to answer for a moment. The sudden shift in direction caught her completely off guard. What? Trixie doesn't want to play anymore, Rainbow Dash. Oh, Trixie gets it. She did ruin the mood before with that. You don't need to demonstrate. Trixie understands now. Sorry, Rainbow Dash. With an impatient huff, Rainbow Dash shook her head. No, that's not it. Come on, Trixie. Okay, truth. Trixie was not sure what Rainbow Dash was trying to accomplish. Rainbow Dash rolled her eyes. Pick again. Her patience appeared to be running thin. Fine, Trixie picks dare. What is this about? I dare you to close your eyes, and don't argue with anything that comes next. Trixie tilted her head with the strange request, though she gave a nod and closed her eyes. Whatever Rainbow Dash had in mind couldn't be that bad, though the idea that she was not allowed to say anything back was annoying. All right, so what did you want to say to a tree? Mpiff. wrapping her forelegs around Trixie. Suddenly, Rainbow Dash cut Trixie off with a kiss, a deep kiss. Pressing her lips against Trixie's, Rainbow Dash showed no hesitation, taking advantage of her gasp of surprise to aggressively slip her tongue inside, searching out Trixie's own. Trixie's eyes opened wide in shock. She wasn't sure if this was really happening, but right in front of her was Rainbow Dash, eyes closed as she kissed her while Trixie was completely stunned. After a few seconds, she saw Rainbow Dash peek at her, worry starting to show on her face. Rainbow Dash paused, and it dawned on Trixie that she had been completely still the whole time. Naturally, Rainbow Dash would think she was making a huge mistake. Before Rainbow Dash could pull away, Trixie quickly wrapped her hooves around her and pulled her back into the kiss, answering it with burning enthusiasm. Trixie was not sure how long Rainbow Dash was going to allow her to hold the kiss, so she savored every single moment of it, knowing it was probably the last kiss she would ever be allowed to share with her. For her part, Rainbow Dash gave her all to the kiss, holding it for as long as Trixie could manage. Finally, Trixie broke away for air with a gasp. Her whole face was burning up, as was Rainbow Dash's for that matter. Somehow, Rainbow Dash did not even look winded after that while Trixie had to struggle to catch her breath. What was that? She immediately regretted asking, but she had to know. That was a kiss. Rainbow Dash stated matter-of-factly while she looked at Trixie, letting her tongue run along her own lips as though experimenting with the taste of it. I guess I can see why you were trying to get one, it's not bad. From now on I'm saving my next kiss for my mere friend though. Trixie felt her heart sink, but nodded slowly. Thank you for letting Trixie have this. You'll make some pony very happy someday. Feeling tears starting to come up, Trixie let her gaze drop down while she held Rainbow Dash in her embrace for a little while longer, taking comfort in her warmth. Of course I will, I'm awesome. Rainbow Dash smirked and used one hoof to lift Trixie's chin up, looking into her teary eyes, then slowly pulled in for a second kiss. This time she was much more gentle while she let their lips meet once again. For the first second, Trixie was too overwhelmed with shock to even think, and once her brain caught up to the full implication, Trixie overloaded completely, and everything went black before her eyes and her head swam. Trixie recognized the feeling. She was going to faint, but for the first time ever, it was out of happiness. Chapter 74. Rename. Why is Trixie on the ground? Blinking slowly as the world came back to her, Trixie watched the light of the morning sun beam through the window, leading her to guess the storm must have cleared up. Trixie found herself laying down on a soft blanket. Her back and side felt wonderfully warm, and she was not in any pain at all. Trixie is getting better at this. Giggling to herself, she recalled her dream from last night, and blushed heavily. Rainbow Dash tricking Trixie into a kiss? She wishes. Still, it had been so real that Trixie could swear she could still taste Rainbow Dash. Sighing wistfully, Trixie entertained the fantasy for a while longer. Gradually, the grogginess cleared up, and a low growl from her stomach brought Trixie the motivation she needed to get up. However, when Trixie tried to rise, a heavy pressure on her back pushed her back down onto her stomach. What the? Upon inspection, Trixie discovered there was a cyan wing folded over her back, and almost instantly after, she also discovered that Rainbow Dash was sleeping right next to her. Startled, Trixie laid down flat, trying not to disturb her any further. It was coming back to her now, all of it had been real, every last bit of it. Excitement quickly bubbling up inside her, Trixie tried to decide what she was supposed to do now. She had never considered how to act when Rainbow Dash actually returned her feelings, as if that wasn't obvious by her embarrassing reaction. The memory made her cringe. What happened after that? Rainbow Dash is still here. Did we do anything else? Blushing furiously, Trixie waited with impatience for the rest of her memories to come back, but it proved fruitless. Apparently she'd laughably passed out from a single kiss, then slept till morning. Nice job, Trixie. that was sure not to be incredibly awkward. Then again, they have seen Trixie knocked out more often than they've seen her awake anyway. Trixie shook the thought from her head. This simply was not the time to be worrying about something like that. After all, she had something much more enjoyable she could be doing. Shifting underneath the wing, Trixie wrapped her hooves around Rainbow Dash, cuddling up against her. As much as she wanted to, among other things, talk to Rainbow Dash right away, Trixie did her best to refrain from disturbing her. Despite herself, Trixie found a nagging fear that Rainbow Dash would wake up, only to tell her that it had been a joke. The thought made a pit form in Trixie's stomach. She did her best not to worry about it while she settled for just waiting. While Trixie waited, she occasionally stole a longing look at the sleeping Pegasus. She wished she could go back to sleep, but her whole body was tingling non-stop, and she was far too excited for it now. After a while, it dawned on her that some pony was missing. Wait, where is Fluttershy? Trixie perked up, and lifted her head to get a better look around, but she could not find her anywhere. Maybe she got up before we did? That would make sense, she's used to getting up early. Even if that were true, however, it still left the question of where Fluttershy was. It was not unlikely that she was out tending to the animals after the storm, checking on them perhaps. With a smirk, Trixie spent a little time trying to imagine how Rainbow Dash must have tried to explain to Fluttershy why she was unconscious again. Oh, maybe something like I did not hit her. I hit on her. Totally different. Would have been good? It's too bad Trixie missed it. A long yawn next to her quickly brought Trixie's attention back to the present. She could feel Rainbow Dash stirring in her embrace as she waited with bated breath. It only took Trixie a second to decide she wanted to do something special when Rainbow Dash woke up, something to make sure she knew how much it meant to her. The only problem was that she had no idea what. Feeling her heart pounding in her chest, Trixie tried to think fast. Unfortunately, her mind was not cooperating and kept giving her ridiculous ideas like singing to her, calling her some overly sweet pet name, kissing her awake like a ponytail princess, or ask if it was good for her too. Groaning as she choked on being romantic, Trixie jolted a little when she saw Rainbow Dash slowly opening her eyes, clearly still groggy. Gah. Time's up. Just pick one. Something sweet. Hey, good morning, sugar cube. Rainbow Dash blinked, and even half asleep she still sniggered and rolled her eyes. Good morning to you too, little hayseed. As soon as she'd heard herself say it, Trixie had the overwhelming desire to face-hoof herself hard enough to put her recovery back 2 weeks. Of all the things you could have called her. So shut up, Trixie meant to make you laugh. So it worked. Chuckling, Rainbow Dash shook her head. Sure you did. Her tone shifted to a more serious one. Anyway, how are you feeling? You gave us a scare, you know. Laying her ears flat on her head, Trixie felt guilty for worrying the pair. Trixie is fine, she just got a little too, excited. But in a good way. It wasn't because something was wrong. She felt her cheeks burning as she avoided Rainbow Dash's gaze, looking off to the side. It was your fault, you know, doing that to Trixie, making her so happy. Oh, I see. I guess that means no more kisses then, since you can't handle them. With a teasing smirk, Rainbow Dash pulled away. Gasping, Trixie pulled closer against Rainbow Dash. No. There is nothing the great and powerful Trixie cannot handle. She'll prove it. Even if she was joking, the thought of losing her again right away was just too much, and it brought back a paranoid fear. You and less. It was real, right? It wasn't a joke? You don't regret it? Trixie struggled hard to keep a neutral face. If Rainbow Dash only felt sorry for her, then she definitely wasn't going to say it if she looked as pathetic as she sounded. After a brief look of confusion, Rainbow Dash's face softened, and she returned the hug tightly. Hey, I'm sorry, Trixie. maybe I shouldn't tease you right now. I guess I didn't get to explain much last night, huh? Trixie shook her head, though she knew just fine why that was. So, explain. Sure, well, I was thinking about it, and I just decided maybe I wasn't being fair, you know. How do I know I don't like being with you, if I never gave you a chance? I like having you as a friend, and well, I like you, I guess, you know. You are cool. Rainbow Dash started to look increasingly more uncomfortable as she approached closer to Mush territory, and apparently looking for something she could say to rescue her image. While it had not exactly been a burning declaration of everlasting love, Trixie could not be happier, nor stop smiling as she nodded. Trixie understands, she's cool. She giggled and shook her head. So, then this means Trixie has a chance to show you your great and powerful time. Perfectly clear. In that case, the first order of business is obvious. Just as Trixie finished speaking, she quickly leaned in to steal a kiss from Rainbow Dash. Taken off guard, it took Rainbow Dash a second to respond, but she soon answered the kiss. Once Trixie finally broke away, Rainbow Dash shot her a smile, and her voice held a playfully affectionate tone. The great and powerful thief see. She pulled closer as she spoke, to claim a second kiss. Trixie felt like she could burst into flames at any second, happily enjoying her second kiss that morning, though afterward she gave Rainbow Dash a frown. That better not stick. You are as bad at pet names as Trixie, Dashy. Dashy? Well, have you been talking to? Rainbow Dash chuckled. She gave a look, the sunbeam shining through the window, and blinked, following it out the window towards the partly clouded sky. She pushed away from Trixie. Gah, I'm late. I've got to get going. I'm supposed to help clean that mess up there up. Can't you just leave it? Trixie huffed. It did not seem fair to her she had to give up Rainbow Dash so soon already, even if it was for just a little while. You already made the mess, your job is done. Rainbow Dash smirked. Much like Fluttershy's kitchen, the old storm clouds won't clear themselves, and we can't put Ponyville through another storm like that. Besides, thanks to a certain Pony, I had such a rigorous practice session that this will be easy by comparison. She gave Trixie an accusing look. Oh, you're welcome. Trixie grinned cheesily, then rose onto her hooves. Okay, fine, but you can't go to work on an empty stomach. Stay right there, and Trixie will get you something, she insists. After briefly pondering the offer, Rainbow Dash nodded. Well, I can't say no to that now, can I? Actually, I was a bit worried about being hungry my whole shift. That's the spirit. Trixie trotted her way to the kitchen, swaying her tail much more pleasantly than heading off to do some housework called for. Just as she was about to reach the kitchen door, Trixie shot a look back at Rainbow Dash, while her eyes quickly rose up to meet her own. Perfect. Blushing, Rainbow Dash rose a hoof up to scratch the back of her neck. Is there, something? No, Trixie just wanted to get one more look before she went. She quickly stepped into the kitchen, and closed the door, leaning against it while she waited for her heart to stop trying to drill its way out of her chest. Calm down, Trixie. She did not really believe she would pass out from excitement a second time, but it made her hooves even less steady than they already were, and she needed those right now. Starting with the easy part, Trixie set out to gather something to drink first, and quickly settled on some herbal tea. It was no problem finding the ingredients, as Fluttershy kept quite a few different tea flavors in stock, but finding the teapot proved more difficult. It was not as if Trixie could not find one. She had located one in a cabinet during her search, but she had a specific one in mind, the rainbow-colored teapot Fluttershy had used the night she returned home from the hospital. Despite her best efforts, it was nowhere to be found. As she grew more desperate, Trixie even started checking in places she was pretty sure it wouldn't be, in the cups, below the plates, and underneath the cupboard. Disappointed, she decided to settle for a boring green teapot instead. With her procrastinating fulfilled, All that was left was figuring out what she was going to make, and how she was going to make it. Apparently Rainbow Dash was curious about that as well, as Trixie could hear her voice calling out from the living room. "What are you making anyway?" Trixie knew that as soon as she'd finished breakfast Rainbow Dash would leave, and it was with that realization that she felt a grin growing on her lips. Calling out in a perfectly innocent voice, Trixie replied, "Pancakes."